Welcome to a very special edition of Chai with Molly, a show where we celebrate diversity the Canadian way. I'm your host, and I have been looking so much forward to seeing you. We have a stunning show in store for you, so don't go anywhere. We have in our studio a very special guest. He is a professor at Centennial College, Professor Phil Alalibo. And let's talk to him to see what's going on in Nigeria. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much.
All right, so tell us, you have a new president elect. Tell us about him, Mr. Muhammadu Buhari. Okay, so there are lots of expectations of him. So do you think he's going to be able to live up to all those expectations?
Well, that's yet to be seen. But if we go by his past record, he was head of state in the mid-80s for 20 months, and he was very strict. He brought discipline to the polity. He had so much impact, positive impact on the polity that people, and I believe he rode on that to office this time because of what he did and because of what the people have seen in the last 6 years of Jonathan's administration. They felt it was time.
So was it his previous track record, or was it the frustration with President Jonathan Goodluck?
That's a very good question. I think it's a combination. It's a mix of both.
Okay.
A lot of frustration palpable in the system, but also it was the right time for change. The right time for change. So they felt, and they had only two options really. So they felt that retired General Buhari was a better option.
All right. So now tell us what are some of the challenges that a nation like Nigeria has experienced during President Jonathan Goodluck's regime. 6 years he was in power.
That's right.
And a lot of things happened. And at some point it almost appeared as if Nigeria was really spinning out of control. Right? So give us a little bit of an insight into all of that.
It's been very challenging for President Jonathan in the last 6 years, especially with the insurgency in the northeast.
So, but why is it that they have not been able to curb it?
That's a good question. There are many reasons out there, but one of it is, I think, lack of political will. But also, we have seen the inability of the Nigerian state and Nigerian military to curb that insurgency, partly as a result of corruption as well, because the Nigerian military is one of the most funded on the continent. But then this insurgency has exposed its inability because perhaps the authorities are diverting the funds meant for equipment, well-being of the officers, and to prosecute this war. So that's partly responsible. Okay.
All right. So you living here in Canada, how did you perceive all of these things taking place? There are about 30 to 40,000 Nigerians who call Canada home. How did they see this conflict in the African continent?
It's very. Everybody's saddened by it, and especially when we see the carnage that goes on of fellow Nigerians, you cannot help but be heartbroken. And most people were calling for the government to do more to stop the insurgency, to collaborate with other governments. And that's happening now. In the last 6 weeks, there's been a lot of successful campaign against the insurgency because of the collaboration of neighboring countries, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon coming together, contributing troops to fight insurgency. In the last 6 weeks, this has happened. So that's good news. But they are asking for more, for it to be stopped totally. And so Nigerians have been very supportive, both in writing and in action, but also perhaps through the votes, as we just saw last week, voting out Mr. President and voting in somebody, a former retired general, they believe will have a better handle on war, obviously.
All right. So now here's the challenge he may have to encounter, and I guess time will tell us how he handles it. He, from what we know of him, is an honest man who was not interested in amassing wealth for himself.
That's right.
From what we know, he lives in a humble house, even now. But what about all the people who are around him? Right? They may have expectations. So how is he going to be able to balance transparency, right, accountability, with special interests.
Of course. One thing, in my perspective, going for him is his credibility and integrity. This is a man that's had several positions, sensitive positions. He was governor, he was Minister of Petroleum. Nigeria's main product is petroleum, and that means billions of dollars under his care, and he has been one of the most investigated people in Nigeria, and nothing has come out. And so his integrity is working for him. And then he has to surround himself, of course, like with every president, every leader, surround himself with honest, like-minded people that will pursue and prosecute his agenda. And that agenda has to be to get rid of corruption. That agenda has to be
because
to strengthen
it's hurting the
institutions.
country.
It's hurting the country.
And it's hurting the people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And there are a large number of young people, 50%, you said, who
Yes.
are unemployed.
That's right.
That's a
right.
very, very high percentage.
And the challenge with that is, if you don't engage the young population of any country, 70% of Nigerians are 30 years and under. 70%.
Young country.
It's a very young country, and that's very significant. And so job creation has to be on top of the agenda, of course.
Yes.
And that can only be possible if corruption is curbed, and some of those funds, billions of dollars, can be used constructively to engage the youth, and making them business owners, employing them in government offices and so forth, but empowering the youth so that they can take charge of their future.
All right, so you're someone who has been in other parts of the world. If President Muhammadu Buhari is watching this program, what would you like to recommend to him that he does in terms of engaging the youth, creating employment, right? Of course, this is something that he's going to want to do as well. So what are some of the recommendations that you would like to make?
He has to pay attention to the universities and the post-secondary
Education.
Education is very critical. The educational system is not up to par. It's not what it used to be 20, 30 years ago. That has to be strengthened. There has to be a lot of money put in there, a lot of capacity building in that sector. And then, of course, when these youth graduate from the universities, they have to be engaged right away. And so there has to be some structure put in place. Not every youth will be engaged, but some structure put in place to engage a majority of the youth, either in private business by giving them loans, or perhaps in bringing them into government office or companies. But another thing that has to happen is creating an enabling environment for companies, foreign companies, to come in and create employment for Nigerians. And that can only happen if security insecurity is reduced, infrastructure is working, there's electricity, there's water supply, security in general.
And there is no Boko Haram.
And there's no Boko Haram to be afraid of. They will come. And so
because companies are not going to go and invest big money.
Correct. That's very correct.
Right?
Of course, they're very...
Because if there is instability, if there is no sense of security in the country,
that's right.
As much as the companies may want to, and I'm sure there are lots of major corporations who would want to take advantage of your youth.
Huge, and not a huge population. This is 170 million customers you're looking at. So any company would be interested in doing business there. There's a company, actually, a phone company that has 81 million subscribers in Nigeria. There's nowhere else on the continent you will have that mass of subscribers. So the country is ripe for business. However, those infrastructure and those other things have to be put in place to make it a very attractive venture for foreign companies.
All right. So now give us a sense of Nigerian community living here in Canada. How long have they been here? What are they doing? Give us a sense of that.
Yes, in the GTA, which is Greater Toronto area, a lot of Nigerians, as you well know, very creative, innovative, hardworking set of people, and they're engaged in all kinds of business ventures. They're business owners, they're government workers, they're athletes and so forth. And also, of course, they're very culturally minded. Nigerians love to embrace the culture and celebrate their culture. And so there's an association in Toronto, there's an association that brings Nigerians together, especially for independence celebrations. But under that umbrella, there are sub-associations as well. It's a mosaic that celebrate different activities and functions and festivals. It's a very lively community.
All right. So thank you so much for being in the studio with us and giving us this insight and we look forward to hearing more about what is happening in your country. We look forward to your new president, Muhammadu Buhari, bring back those beautiful young women who have been missing ever since they were taken.
Yes, and I think he has made that has to be one of the number one priority, of course. And I think he knows quite well to tackle that issue head on, because when that happens, there's going to be a lot of expectations and a lot of peace. I think.
Yes, because now no nation can operate as an autonomous country by itself, even though these are all sovereign nations,
Yes.
right? But they are all part of the international community.
Absolutely.
Right? And when those girls went missing, there was an outrage
Yes, yes.
all over the
And
world.
rightfully so, rightfully so. Very unfortunate young girls studying, trying to get education and being whisked away into the forest.
In the middle of the
In
night.
the middle of the night. So there has to be a concerted effort, not just by the Nigerian government, but also other countries with the intelligence to go out there and find these girls and bring them back home.
So if there is someone who's watching this program and he or she may be interested in getting more information about this cultural association of Nigeria that you know of, where can they reach you?
Yes, they can reach me at alalibo@gmail.com, and let me spell that. That's ALALIBO @gmail.com.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
My husband and I are outraged and heartbroken over the kidnapping of more than 200 Nigerian girls from their school dormitory in the middle of the night.
In a blink, they were taken without a choice. With no reason, they were taken without a voice. So very young, I know that they are so afraid. But hold on, we gotta take this day by day. Let us pray and keep their faces in our minds, and let us hope from fading in the wind. Let's stand up, we can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes, let's give them our attention, 'cause we're on a mission called their life. 'Cause we can bring the darkness to the light. Listen, bring back our girls. Bring back our girls. We can win with everybody staying strong. We can make it right when something was done so wrong. Look into their eyes, their innocence betrayed. But be strong, don't let their young hearts fade. Let us pray and keep their faces in our minds, and keep our hope from fading in the wind. Let's stand up, we can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes, let's give them our attention, mission call their life. 'Cause we can bring the darkness to the light. We have to make it known, have to keep our hearts warm, and not give in to senseless, thoughtless plans. We have the strength to grow and let them know that we will fight and not give in to fear. Let's stand up. We can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes. Let's give them our attention. 'Cause we're on a mission called their life. 'Cause we can bring the darkness into light. Listen, bring back our girls. Bring back our girls. Bring back our girls.
We too from Child with Molly from all over Canada want to join our voices and ask you, President Muhammadu Buhari, bring back our girls now.
Friends, clients, this is Jay Banerjee. I want to introduce you to a condo downtown, a first release. Do you know what's a first release? You have the opportunity on one night to be the very first person, the very first human being to be able to go and buy in a building. It's the first release. Number two, you will make $25,000 to $31,000 in one night. Why? Because the very next day, the builder is going to open up the condo to the public at $25,000 to $31,000 more. Call me because I am going to send you emails, videos, whatever information you need with the actual price list. Remember my story, downtown Toronto? Do you remember Toronto the Good? This is a continuation of Toronto the Good. Downtown Toronto is a story by itself. Let's divert for a moment. The price of a detached home in Toronto is over $1 million. Who can afford that? Not everybody. Therefore, this opportunity of owning a piece of the sky, a piece of downtown Toronto, Toronto the Good, is right here. April the 18th, 11 a.m. I will show you, I am having a sale downtown Toronto where you have the opportunity of making $25,000 to $31,000 in one night because the prices that you're going to get from our team, we are the A team in condos, pre-construction. You have money in your bank, you have money in your home, God willing you do. If that is there, call me because I will show you how the ROI, the return on investment on your money, can be from 12 to 13%. The increase, that's just on as an investor renting it. The increase in the value is a whole nother story. This is the sale we've all been waiting for. I want to introduce you to the VIP opportunity to purchase in downtown, purchase a condo, whether you buy parking or not. You put your money I will be your guide. I will be an investment specialist. Where today can you buy a condo? It starts as low, in the low 280s. For a smaller condo, you want a 1 bedroom and a den, 350s, 2 bedroom, a little bit more, and so on and so forth. Whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your children, siblings, family members to live in, George Brown College is right there. Coca-Cola headquarters, Toronto Sun, the metropolis of downtown Toronto, with everything including the tunnel, the path underneath. People who live there, they know it. You have an opportunity to become a landlord. You have an opportunity from me to become an owner of a piece of that puzzle. Today I'm going to provide you with PDFs, ROIs, price list, comparisons. I'll even show you a picture of downtown Toronto 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and how it looks today. I know I don't need to prove it to you. Go drive down Lakeshore Drive and see for yourself. You will now see a PowerPoint presentation. You will see why, as I mentioned before, why Toronto, why I'm standing here and saying to you, you are getting this email from me because I know you, or we've had a connection. And if you're watching television today, you have the opportunity of buying this condo through me. Call Jay now, because this is not advertised. This is not on the MLS. Any other agent cannot get this for you. I have this, and I'm blessed, and I'll be glad to pass on this to you, from my family to you. An opportunity even today, while in Vancouver prices are higher, you have the opportunity. Call me now, 647-273-1119, and register for the VIP seminar, the VIP sales event on April the 18th. I'm Jay Banerjee, your host, your realtor, your friend from RE/MAX.
The sky is blue and Everyone builds dream houses. They are in a neighborhood with a park and close to transportation that runs around the clock. They have a dream backyard and the perfect color with a big pool, great for the summer. They have green trees and birds that soar and a beautiful lake just outside the door. But when you dream, you close your eyes. That's why you need a guide. To see if it's too close to the train, to line up a good school, to notice a possible foundation crack, and remind you of the cost of a pool. With a RE/MAX agent, you will see how much better than a dream home the right home can be. RE/MAX. Dream with your eyes open.
That's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed our show. And if you have any comments about our show, please join us on our Facebook, Chai with Molly TV, and let us know what you think of our show. We'd love to hear from you. Before I go, I want to remind you once again that to be good and kind to a stranger is a good thing.